Okay, it is 7 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Board of Selectmen's meeting Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that comment.
It might have been an echo.
Okay. I'm going to assume it was an echo. Is there public comment about anything not on tonight's agenda? Gwen Marion?
I actually have comments that I would like to make about items that are on the agenda, and I'm just wondering if I should do that now or if I could wait and address the issues as they come up on the agenda.
You may wait if that's your choice. If
That
you'd
is my
like to.
choice. Thank you.
Amanda Gordon?
I just wanted to join because I know this is Sandy's last meeting, and so I wanted to say thank you to Sandy for her service to the town for the last 4 years. I've only known her for 2 of them, but my husband and I were new to town and she welcomed us to town, and I really appreciated all of the information I was able to learn about the town because of her participation on social media, the new website, the newsletters that went out, and really wanted to take the time to thank her for her service. And I'd also like to thank our poll workers who worked really hard last Tuesday, well into the evening. Gwen, I know you were one of them. So thank you for taking that time, doing the due diligence to make sure that our election was solid and we had faith in the results of the elections, I think.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else who wants to comment tonight?
Yeah, me, Bob Moore.
Okay, no, Bob Mora.
Yes, I would just like to, first of all, thank Sandra for her, not only her 4 years, but the previous years where we served together on the board, and also years in the past and all those years as you served this community on the Heritage Farm Commission. I don't think people really appreciate the effort and time that goes in unless they've done this job. And as a person who has, I do appreciate it. And I thank you for your service to our community. And well, I'll leave it at that. At the same time, since Kim just came on, I'd also like to thank her too for her last 4 years on this committee. Mike and I had the pleasure of appointing her to that position. And I'm glad we did. I thoroughly have enjoyed serving with you. And that's my comments. Thank you.
Kim, you have your hand up.
I just wanted to, first of all, of course, say thank you to Sandy for everything that she's done for the town for the past 4 years. And to Bob's point, long before that, for many years. I know that the town is going to miss you and your dedication. And then I also just generally wanted to thank the rest of the Board of Selectmen as well as the town for letting me be on the Board of Selectmen for the past 4 years. It's been a great experience, and just learning about the town and learning about what matters to people in the town. So thank you everyone for your support and help. And I've really enjoyed my time on the board, and good luck to the next board.
Sandy?
Mike, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to echo the sentiments of Bob and what he said about you and Kim. And I'd like to thank everybody that pushed us, Bob and I, to go and have breakfast with Kim that morning and get to know her a little bit and decide that we definitely could support her. I'm very sad to see you go. I was hoping you'd stay with us because it was a good team to work with, and I'm very sorry to see you go. And by the same token, I'd like to welcome Adam on board. Adam is a somebody who's been very dedicated to this community for a long, long time on different boards and commissions and everything. And I think, you know, we've had our disagreements, but I think the disagreements come head to head rather than behind the back. And I think we'll be able to compromise and hopefully in the tradition of the board, you know, have unanimous votes. We've been pretty good at that over the years. And I think Adam will be an excellent addition to that. And thank you for running, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mike. Kwan Gordon, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to jump on board and also in the same line to everybody else that has spoken so far. Sandy, I want to say thank you for being a good steward in the position for selectman. In my short time of knowing you, I would definitely say you are very knowledgeable and you have contributed tremendously to the town. And I would definitely want to thank you for that. And I also want to say thank you for the rest of the board members that will be ending their term soon. And good luck wishes to the new board members that would be getting ready to come on and take charge of the oath of office.
Thank you, Kwan. Did I miss anyone else? Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. First item is October 5th, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections?
Move the adoption of the minutes as presented.
Bob DiPietro is seconding that. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of October 5th, 2021 as presented, please raise your hand. I see 5 hands raised from the members of the Board of Selectmen. That is unanimous. Next item is our special meeting of October 26th. This was the joint meeting with the Board of Finance and Board of Education as required by our charter. Can I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Bob Moore
I
moved.
believe that's all correct. It's a lot there, but it looked like it was fully correct.
Kim, was that a second from you? Okay, it's been moved by Bob, seconded by Kim. Is there any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of October 26th joint meeting with the Board of Finance, Board of Education, and the Board of Selectmen, please say aye.
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 Well, actually, raise your hands. I see 4 hands raised and I vote aye as well. So that is also unanimous. Next on the agenda is the minutes of the meeting of October 28th, which is way down in your packet. And that was the meeting with the land use boards.
All right. Yeah, I'll move the adoption.
Thank you, Bob. Is there a second? Kim seconded it. Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving those minutes as presented, please raise your hand.
I abstain.
Okay,
do
so
too.
I have
2 abstentions.
3 yeses and 2 abstentions, Yvonne. Those minutes are accepted. Next item on the agenda is appointment of a temporary building committee. We have a number of candidates. I'm going to go through them. As near as I can tell, we just have one of them on the phone. Jeff Scala, has applied. Richard Tuthill was in your packet, however, he has withdrawn. John Toomey, Jr. of 45 Hebron Road, is seeking a position as a full member. Kawan Gordon, who you heard speak a little earlier, is seeking a full membership. That's 3. Sherry Filipina of Steel Crossing Road is seeking a full membership. So that's number 4. Stacy Trinka of Quarry Road is seeking a full membership. That is number 5. Kevin Glenn of 46 Country Club Road is seeking a full membership. That is number 6. And I believe that's it. The issue with this is that every person who I read, with the exception of Kevin Glenn, is a registered Democrat. I believe this board, or commission rather, should have minority representation and therefore be a 4-3 or a 5-2 board. The charter says the temporary building commission is made up of 5 regular members and 2 alternates.
Sandy?
Yeah,
Since this is a temporary building commission and there are a few items that need to go forward, as a Republican, I would have no problem with the way this is made up, because this commission, if any, is as apolitical as it can be, because it's dealing with town properties. It's not dealing with issues of Democrat, Republican, money, not money. It's some of the things they're going to look at is the feasibility of certain projects and what the money might be for those projects. That's about as apolitical as it can get in this world today. And I think if we have people that are willing to do this, at least on a temporary basis, if not hopefully on a full-time basis, and we can recruit maybe a couple more of a different party, I think we should appoint them and go forward, because I think in this day and age, to get people to volunteer is a big deal. And like I said, as a Republican, I have no problem with a 5-1 split on this board. And I'm very confident that the people that have applied, although I don't know a few of them, will do a good job looking out for the interest of the community when it comes to its buildings and things like that. So I would recommend that we appoint these people to a temporary building commission and move forward with the projects that we're talking about that potentially would come before the board in the spring or late winter.
So it's a quick question, Sandy.
Adam, I'm sorry, Bob Mora, go ahead.
Just a question, and I'm sorry you mentioned it before. Is it a 5-member commission? 7? What's the full size?
It is 5 regular members and 2 alternates.
Okay, so we can do a 3-2. I do have a Republican to bring. I can't bring it forward tonight, but we can appoint. Can't we appoint 4 and leave 1 slot open? At least to get it going. You don't have to appoint the full commission tonight.
I would actually like to appoint a full commission.
Yeah.
Sandy, what is the one person that's not a Democrat, an independent?
No, he's a Republican, Kevin Glenn.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Do you have? Isn't there what's it? Oh, it's all right. Richard Tuthill was the other unaffiliated. Okay. I
He
thought.
would have been,
Yeah.
he would have been our 7th
Right.
member, however, he withdrew his name.
Okay, that's what. All right.
but this is a temporary, we're not appointing a permanent building commission at this point.
No.
We're appointing a temporary building commission. So we could rearrange the personnel in the future.
I have no
Based-
problem with, oh, I'm sorry, I have no problem with the personnel. I just don't want to go against, you know.
I don't really think we are.
Minority representation if we don't, I just don't know.
Yeah, Gwen or Adam, as member of the former Charter Commission, do you remember what the charter says about composition of the temporary building commission?
I think it left it up to statute, but I am not positive about that.
I don't think it called out anything specific other than the statutory requirement, which I think is 4-1 on a 4-person board, except for the Board of Selectmen, which is 3-2.
Yeah,
Same.
on a 5-member,
4-1 would work?
Yeah, or you could just appoint 4 people now and 2 alternates, and then one of the alternates would sit as a member until you fill the 5th position.
I think that's a good way to move, Sandy.
yep, that would move it forward.
Does, all right, so let's go through the list one more time. I have Jeff Scala, John Toomey, Kawan Gordon, Kevin Glenn, Stacy Trinka, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I would move that we appoint Jeff Scala, John Toomey Jr., Kawan Gordon, Kevin Glenn, and Stacy Trinka as full members of the board, and Sherry Filipina as an alternate.
Did you make that a motion?
I did.
Second.
All right, so it's moved by Pirog, seconded by Aramita. Is there discussion on the nominees?
One question.
Yep.
Did any of these, and I don't have it in front of me, did any of them request an alternate position that were?
They did not. They all applied for full members.
That's it. Thank you. I just need that clarification.
However, I have had a conversation with Ms. Filipina, who has said she would like to be involved and would be fine with an alternate.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
All right, hearing no further discussion, I'm going to have take a vote on these 5 names. Again, Jeff Scala, John Toomey, Kawan Gordon, Kevin Glenn, Stacy Trinka as full members, and Sherry Filipina as an alternate. That leaves 1 vacancy for an alternate.
Yvonne, she said this is a temporary, excuse me, temporary commission.
Correct. It is a temporary building commission. The charter revisions that just passed change the term of the temporary building commission to be the length of time it takes to complete the projects assigned to it. And we'll be moving to that after this vote. So we're now just voting on those individuals for the commission. Bob DiPietro,
No,
Bob Mora,
Yes,
Mike Aramita,
Yes.
Kim. Yes, and I vote yes, so that passes 4 yeses, 1 no. Moving on to the projects that we need to assign to this commission. Demolition of Notch Road. Fields at the high school, including soccer field and track. Town hall, office space, and firehouse addition. Am I missing anything?
What about the high school roof and air conditioning?
High school roof and air conditioning are currently in
Center
process.
school.
Oh, high
That's
school.
what I
roof.
meant. I meant the center school. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jim and Mike. The center school is currently in process with the Board of Education, serving as the temporary building commission for that project, so that we could apply for the grants back at the beginning of this past summer.
That's a lot.
With
It
all
is a
due
lot.
respect, with you understand, I heard what Michael and Bob said, and I knew that four of you wanted to go forward. But I say it's premature without knowing more about what these people's background is. This is a bigger commitment in terms of not only the projects, but the implications for our tax dollars down the road. So I'm really concerned about this. I don't like lumping all those projects into this one time. I just can't. I can't support it. Sorry.
Do you have an alternative, Bob DiPietro?
I think we should, I would like to know more about what each of these people we are looking at would understand and bring to the table. And not knowing that, I have a hard time picturing even myself taking on all of this. It's like too much, too fast, too many implications, too much of a commitment. If we could break it down somehow, I would rather we do that. The first step would be, what do they understand about what's involved with each project?
Well, I think they have a learning curve, but I can speak a little bit to their background. Jeff Scala is a professional engineer and currently Connecticut Regional Vice President for a company called Tectonic Engineering based in Rocky Hill. John Toomey, I think you know, has been involved in town. Kawan Gordon is a builder by his own right. Kevin Glenn is a builder by his own right. Stacy Trinka is an interested parent of a high schooler. And Sherry Filipina is an individual who wants to get involved in her community. So I think we do have a number of folks on the committee who have built things, who have torn down things, and a couple of people who are there to what I call keep the aesthetic view in focus. Bob Mora?
Well, I have to kind of agree with Bob DiPietro. That is what we're asking this committee is way beyond anything that I had even conceived this committee doing. We haven't even decided what we would want for a town hall, where we want a town hall, and to ask a committee to work on that, to me is, no, I would absolutely not support that. Secondly, my original thoughts were, I thought we were looking at when we started this discussion, had to do, should the fire station should an addition be put on it? And if so, what would it look like? What would it be? And of course, the other ongoing issue, the immediate issue, is the Notch Road Municipal Center. And then to actually bring in the the track and all that. They're just, I don't see that as all those are totally different issues to be accomplished by one commission. I think is number one, is asking too much of them. And I frankly, I could not support that. I could support having them do one, maybe two. That's it.
Okay, Mike Aramita, you had your hand up first.
Yes, looking at what they would be actually doing, the Notch Road Municipal Center, for example, the Board of Selectmen has decided already that we need to tear it down. I mean, that's a project that has already been kind of identified and kind of laid in stone, so to speak. So the board would be looking for an RFP to go out for a demolition and give us a price and how long it would take and everything else that would be involved in it. The fire station is, for all intents and purposes, identified as a project, and the fire department has come in with or has an idea ready to go for what they want for an addition, exactly the right now, the amount of square footage and what it would look like, and has a preliminary drawing even of what they want. So basically they would be doing nothing more than an RFP to start with, to do the evaluation, the cost, and whether that project would be done. So those two are relatively easy because staff will help do the RFP. They will just oversee it. You know, it won't be a physical task that they wind up doing. The town hall, I think we can give them a heads up on that, but I think as a Board of Selectmen, we need to give them a project that we could support and put forward, meaning a rough idea, square footage and what we want, where it should go and all of that. So I think that one is should be handed off to the Public Building Commission as something they're going to see in the next couple of months, probably come to them. And as far as the track and everything, if we choose not to do that, we could dump that on the Board of Education as they did with the school roof and the air conditioning. But it's still a town building, it's still town resources, and I still think it should be under the Town Building Commission. But they're going to have to get tons of support from the Board of Ed because it's technically town property, but it's their project. So I think what Bob and Bob DiPietro are talking about, we're asking them right away to hit the ground running on two projects, the demolition of Notch Road and the RFP for the fire station, because those two projects are identified pretty firmly, so to speak. I think we give them the heads up on the town hall that we're going to be bringing forward a plan to them in the next couple of months. And then we see what we can do with the track. If they believe it's too much for them, then we back off on that one and see if we can figure a different way to do it.
Em, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so my question was really about what can they have us do? What can we have them do for us? So for example, can they do different phases of things? Like, can we have them collect research and options about the town hall? I mean, and the same thing with the track and the fields, right? Some of these things have been on our plate for a while, and we've got a lot of different things we're trying to work on. So stuff ends up sort of languishing a little bit, right? It takes us a while to get to it. Could we have them do a lot of the footwork, and there's just like phases or gates or something to, come up with ideas, come back, draft a proposal, come back, just which would be input that we could then use to, move it along quicker.
Sandy?
And may I speak, Mike?
Yep, go ahead.
The track and field, we have drawings, we have cost estimates. And I think we have a big contingent of parental support and Board of Education support at this point for that project. So in my mind, that belongs on the Temporary Building Commission list, perhaps even before the tear down of Notch Road, but that has to happen. And once again, town hall office space is getting short shift. So that's my point. Mike?
Yeah, speaking to your point about the town hall getting the short end of the stick, we have identified what we need for square footage through the UConn students and all of that. And the first thing that a public building commission needs to do on any of these projects is put out an RFP for preliminary drawings, ideas, and a company to come back and help us design basically what we want. And they give us a price for, preliminary drawings and architectural assistance and all of that. And then we kind of work with them and the Board of Ed in cases like the town hall staff would work with them. In the case of the firehouse, the fire department would work with them. In the case of the Notch Road building, the town staff would work with them to get these projects to a point where we have preliminary drawings and an idea or a plan set down on paper to where we're going. So the beginnings of the Temporary Building Commission is just to get these projects started. And once that is done, we can choose to end their term there because they're starting the projects, they've got them begun, or we can continue along the lines depending on what we get back from RFPs. And it's not going to be just the Public Building Commission looking over the RFPs. It's going to be our legal team. It's going to be the building department. It's going to be the school board and the education department and John and his crew. And there'll be a lot of people working on this. It's not going to be just these people that are going to be stuck with this whole project. They're going to have town staff and lots of people to aid them in this. But this is a good beginning to get, town staff is going to work with them to write the RFPs. They're not going to sit down and write RFPs for all these projects. It's going to have to be town staff helping them and assisting them write it. So the beginnings of this, I don't think is overwhelming to any group. They're going to listen to some of the groups come in and they're going to evaluate what the RFP is going out and put it forward, and then we'll see what comes back. And then the work really begins once the RFP and the presentations and the plans come back. That's when you actually start to have some work. Prior to that, it's just sending out some forms to get some prices back for the preliminary drawings. Some of the projects we don't have money set aside for the RFP. Some we do, and so it's the beginning is just paperwork. It's just getting the projects begun. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for any of these people to sit on a board and read an RFP and say, yes, I think that's where we should send out. So I think it's not beyond these people at all to manage these beginnings, so to speak.
More?
I'm not questioning the abilities of any of the members of the board. Where my really concerns are, I don't think we've developed enough of a plan, even a proposal, to have them really work on a town hall facility. You can't do an RFP if you don't know where your site is, because it can be total site conditions different. You haven't even determined a shape that you want, type of construction you want. We have we've determined roughly the square footage that we might want. And we haven't, in quite frankly, in my cheap mind, frugal mind, I would not give these folks looking into that without saying, you know what, I think we have to keep it within this budget limit, period. Once you get an architect involved in this thing, nothing against architect, but they don't care what it costs me or my fellow taxpayers. They just make it, you say you want this, well, this is what you get. Well, I can afford a $2 million building. I can't afford a $4 million building. And that's what I'm looking at. And that is my concern. I think it's imperative that the board, be in a better position to guide this group as to where they want to go on these projects. And just having an idea, and we've had a hell of a lot of ideas, I mean, good ideas, but none that we were able to push forward because we couldn't afford to do it. So all of this has to be part of what we're doing here. I just don't want a commission to put together and for developing certain plans or procedure and actually getting cost estimate if we're not in agreement that that's what we want. We are in agreement that the town hall facility, the old municipal center is, it's ancient, it's due, it has to come down. No question on that. The other simple thing, the firehouse, well, if you look at an addition, there's only one way to do it, basically one way. It's pretty straightforward. Somebody could cost that out. That's a simple thing. I don't have an issue with that. We have a set of plans for the track and that. That one, Sandy, you brought a good point out. That one requires a good cooperation between Board of Selectmen, Board of Education. I'm just wondering if that one should, whether or not that at this stage of the game should be a part of this this commission. So I'm comfortable leaving it to two items: Notch Road Municipal Center, possible firehouse addition. And if we want to add on to that later, we can add on to that. And it may mean expanding the group to 7.
Well,
You can be into some,
we can't expand, well,
then forget my idea.
you are limited by the charter of the makeup of the temporary public building.
Oh, can it only be 5? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I think, as Bob said, we've got a few projects, as I said before, that we've got a pretty good idea where we're going or where we'd like to go, whether we can afford it or not. I can say that the Notch Road Municipal Center is going to cost $500,000 to tear down, and I'm not going to spend a dime more than that, but it comes in at $600,000. Now I've got to get off the pot, so to speak, and make a decision. And the same thing with the firehouse. I think it's going to be at about $1.5 million. It could come in at $1.6 million or come in at $1.3 million, but we won't know until we get the RFP out and the plan back and the ability to look at what an architect draws and says, yes, we like that, or no, we don't. And I think we're at the same point with the town hall. We all know that we need an addition. We've discussed it for at least 30 years now, different shapes, sizes, placements, all of that kind of stuff. I think we could give an architect or an engineering firm the task of building us designing for us X number of square foot building with ordinary type construction or regular, nothing out of the ordinary in either the site where the existing Notch Road Municipal Building sits or in the vicinity of the existing town hall, and let them come back with something that we could either say, no, it's too much. No, it's not enough. It's not big enough. It's not small enough. I think that's where we get the input of the outsider to help us make the decision. Because we've been diddling around with this for, like I said, 30 years. When I was on the board back in the late 80s, we were talking about an addition to town hall, and we couldn't make a decision back then. We had several different ideas. And since I've been on the board with you people, we've done the same thing. We've had 3 or 4 or 5 different ideas. So I think it's time that we hand it off to somebody else, let a professional come back with an idea of what we want. And, we can tell them that, we have to be frugal, but they're going to have to tell us what it costs. I mean, I could sit down and figure it by a square foot cost, but I'm not going to be right on. And, I think it's time for a professional to get involved. And, we've got some pretty good ideas from the UConn students as to what will work and what is feasible, but we need an expert to tell us what it might cost us. And we can't say that we're not going to spend over $2 million if the lowest price comes in at 3, then we have to make a decision. But we can't make that decision without that input from a professional. So I think the RFPs are what we need to start. We need to get projects going, and the only way to do it is to hand it off to somebody that can give us some good answers and some dollar figures so we can make those decisions. And I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility with a public building commission and the town staff working on it. I think we just go forward and get these RFPs out and see what these projects are going to cost us. And then we can make a decision if we want to go forward. But we're just languishing now with these projects because we don't know what to do. And you're right. We don't know what to do. We need somebody to tell us or give us the information we don't have. So, you know, we're not talking about putting a shovel in the ground. I think the first step, like I said before, I'm just repeating it, but is to send the RFP out, let a professional tell us maybe what we should have and a cost so we can put our fingers on it and decide if we want to put it before the voters. You know, or whether we want to not just drop the project completely and not go forward. But that's we can't make that decision without the input from somebody else. I'm sorry.
Kim?
I mean, I do agree with Mike on this one. Sort of the same thing I was saying before about we've been talking about some of this stuff for a while, but we just can't seem to get it moved ahead. And if we can have another group sort of working on them, if nothing else, like defining what the next steps are and starting to move it forward. Even if we define checkpoints, like maybe we go through each thing and say, you know, you're doing this with this one, this with this one, just come back with ideas for this one. And to the points about the 2 ones that are easy, I'm good with that. And then the other ones, let's prioritize them. And then one at a time, here's this, what we want you to do next. Here's this, what you want you to do next. Because, you know, I've been here for 4 years and some of this stuff, like we've been talking about it for 4 years. And I understand the reasons why, like there's other stuff and higher priority and we always run, you know, we have long meetings, but we need to get some of this stuff really moving forward. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to do that and get some help from people who are willing to help. Right? I don't think anyone is saying they're going to make the decisions and just move forward, right? It's they're collecting information and defining next steps and working with people on, you know, getting information from them. To me, it seems like a good idea to just get these things moving so that we get more information, and it won't be we, because I won't be here, right? But so the board can get more information to then actually move it forward.
Okay. Bob Mora?
Another comment. I said, you know, the issue isn't that we haven't looked at it and haven't looked at possible plans to go forward. The issue is we have no idea how the hell we're going to pay for this. The cost of these projects laid before us are multiple $1 million to be paid. We still have 3 outstanding bonds to deal with. So whatever is going to go forward has to go forward in a specific time frame, in a specific timeline. So besides everything else, you know, Kim mentioned one important thing is priorities. What's your priorities? They're all big priorities, but what can you get done? What can't you get done? And how quickly can you get something done? Well, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a real lot here. Quite frankly, I'm going back to my initial point. Let's start with the 2 that we can move right away, and then expand. You can expand what you want the board to do in a couple of months, because there's no reason. You know, let's concentrate. Let's get those 2 done. Let's do the next one, and let's do the next one. That's my point. I don't think you're going to have this board working on 5 different projects at one time effectively. I mean, I just want to get them done too, but
I hear you, Bob.
Okay.
I do
I'm
not believe there is a motion on the floor. Does someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we initially request the commission to deal with 2 items. 1, possible addition to the firehouse, and 2 is the removal of the old municipal center.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we charge the temporary building commission with the demolition of the Notch Road Municipal Center and the addition on the firehouse. Is there discussion on that motion? Mike?
Yeah, I reluctantly will probably support this to get us moving, but I would like to know, well, I'd like the members that are going to be here, meaning Adam and Bob and I, to keep it in our minds that I don't want to let these other two projects languish more than a couple of months. I think the RFPs for the two we're talking about could easily be performed by Christmas, probably easily by the end of the month or easily by Thanksgiving. They're very simple projects. They're very straightforward projects. And I don't want to see us not do the town hall. I want to see a plan for the town hall. I want to see a price for the town hall, because if we're going to go to a bond, we need to know our total costs, not just piecemeal costs. But for the sake of getting this going, I will support this motion.
Yeah, so when I raised my hand, that was really my question, sort of what about the other things? Like, is the board going to prioritize them at a future meeting? And is there like checkpoints with the commission to say, here's the next thing we want you to do and the next thing?
Kim,
If that's the case and we're just getting them started, then I'm good.
Kim, I can guarantee you that by January 1st, I'm going to be hounding the board to send those other two projects to the
Right.
Public Building Commission. And if they haven't got the other two out, I'm going to be somewhat disappointed.
And Mike has my phone number, so I know he'll be calling me to do the same.
Oh, yes. And
Everybody.
I like I said, for 30 years, I've been hearing about our town hall. We've all walked into our town hall. We've already all seen our municipal building, and we know what we need. I believe we have to get a professional involved, but I will go along with letting the Public Building Commission start with these two, and then I will definitely be pushing two more on their plate come January.
All right, I think we're ready to vote on this. I'm going to do a roll call. You're voting on the sending two projects to the temporary building commission, the demolition of Notch Road and the firehouse addition. Bob DiPietro,
Yes.
Bob Mora,
Aye.
Mike Aramita,
Aye.
Tim,
Hi.
and the chair votes no. So that motion passes. We are moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the appointment to the Heritage Farm Commission. Leslie Shea has applied for a alternate position on the Heritage Farm Commission.
I'll move. We appoint him.
Bob Mora moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kim Miller seconds. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. I see 5 hands raised. That's unanimous. Next item is an appointment to the Diversity Commission. And Ann Decker has requested to be appointed to that commission.
I'll move.
Bob DiPietro has moved. Is there a second? Bob Morris seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. I see 5 hands raised. That's unanimous. Okay. Phew, we are now at item 5, subcommittee reports. I don't believe we have any, do we, Jen? Properties and facilities report. I don't think there's anything there either. open space and management, that's item C. Gwen, is that one of the ones you wanted to comment on?
Yes, it is. Thank you. I wanted to touch upon two issues that the Trails Committee talked about at our October 22nd meeting, and to give everybody an update also after that meeting. So one of the items that we talked about was the proposed project under that for which the town received a $186,000 grant in March. Well, I'm sorry, the commitment to give the town $186,000 in March of 2019. And a major portion of that project is a path through the center of town. And this is coming under the Community Connectivity Grant Program under the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation. And the Trails Committee talked about this. We all agreed that for the proposed location, and we agreed that some of it should be gravel, some should be paved. And so the upshot, the next step on that was that the town engineer would be asked to come up with a construction estimate. And so that's one piece of my presentation. The other piece has to do with the Nathan Hale, and these are tied together. I'll tie them together eventually. The other project that the Trails Committee talked about is the Nathan Hale corridor, which is the large piece of property behind Munson's that was given back to the town of Bolton in May of 2016. And Brent Mayerson and I had done a presentation to the Board of Selectmen in February of 2020 on the progress that we made in locating a proposed trail. It's a beautiful piece of property, and we do have a trail that's for which we have a proposed location. We haven't done any marking because we wanted the selectmen to bless it, and before blessing it, a parking area needs to be established. So the Trail Committee talked about where this parking area should be. And there's a former DOT staging area between Munson's and Bolton Collision. The entrance is right now is right near Bolton Collision. And the Trails Committee agreed that this seems like a good area, but because of sightline issues, the access should actually be moved north toward Munson's, so that it would improve the sight line when you're pulling out of the parking area. When you look to the left, it would improve the ability to see cars coming. So what has happened since the next step on that, as we left it at the Trails Committee meeting, was that the town engineer was going to be asked to come up with an estimate for construction cost of that driveway down into the parking area. What has come to my attention since then, over the weekend, Brent and Liz Mayerson, who walk in that area very frequently, have found that the garbage situation is getting really bad there. When Brent and I presented to the board over a year ago, there was very little garbage. Now the garbage is getting bad. There are 3 musical speakers that are sitting there that look like they've been brought in from somewhere else, and I don't know if they're used for parties or if they're stolen. I don't know. There's bottles, there's garbage. There were a couple of receipts that were found from a medical marijuana dispensary in Willimantic. They actually have the person's name on them, which is like, how smart is that to drop your receipt in a public place? And Liz Mayerson did call the state trooper. She hasn't heard back from him yet, but she reported that and is going to give him the information if he wants it. So now how this is all tying together is that, in my opinion, and this has been proven time and time again, the more you have public use of a trail or an area, a public area, the more good users use those area, the less the bad users will use them. The good users will push out the bad users. And I feel that there needs to be some state trooper presence there, but I think that that's only going to be a Band-Aid measure, because if this area is becoming known as a party spot, it's going to continue. But the sooner that this area is opened up to the public, the better off it will be. And so now tying back to funding, the Community connectivity program, I sit on the Connecticut Greenways Council. And we had a meeting this morning, and the DOT liaison said that she is almost sure that there's going to be more and more money pouring into this community connectivity program. This money will be available only to towns who have finished projects for which other grants have been given. So unless Bolton goes and finishes this town center path that I mentioned, the town is not going to be able to apply for money to do this parking area improvement. And it would be a perfect item to apply for money for, because Bolton and Coventry got a grant under through another program to do to do a consultation on the plan for the property. This project would fit in perfectly with that. It would coincide perfectly. So I'm urging you all, the administration, to move forward quickly with getting the path through the center of town, the design finalized and the construction started and finished, using that $186,000 that's already been pledged by DOT, so that after that's done, the town can then apply for funding to do the improvements to the Nathan Hale Corridor parking area. That will, I'm sure, will eliminate this bad behavior there. So that is that's my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Just a comment.
Gwen?
Gwen? No, I'm sorry. Sam, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, I just wanted to give Gwen an update that we are currently, staff is currently working on the materials list for that project so that we can get those orders placed. At this point, there's a delay in delivery of certain construction projects, including what we need for that project. So it looks like it'll be a spring 2022 start and should wrap rather quickly once the materials are in hand.
Good.
Bob Moore?
I was going to say, that doesn't preclude us to also proceed with that. I'm on that committee with you, Gwen, but also proceed with the driveway, entryway into that parking area. I mean, there's no reason why we can't complete the plans, be ready to go, and perhaps when we finally get some finalized cost, it might be in the realm of not needing that grant to finish it. But that's why I think we can move parallel,
Yeah,
instead of
good.
one waiting for the other. And
Well,
I think
that's
that's the
good.
way to go.
I hope so. I just know that funding for any project is always an issue. And so I didn't know whether this board felt that there was money that could be budgeted to take care, to improve that driveway before a grant program came along. So I'm thrilled to hear that you might be able to find the funding for it and not have to wait.
Yeah, I think it's important for us. That's why we wanted the engineer to look at it. They really give us a good cost estimate, what materials are needed, because I kind of think, as we had discussed, one of the important things, what can the town itself do, instead of having an outside contractor doing it. Maybe the outside contractor bid is the way to go, but until we have that. But I think I think we left it that way, and I think that's the way things are going to progress. But I appreciate your input, because, you're on this thing, and, and your connection with the Trails group is very helpful. So I appreciate your input.
Yeah, and we have identified the pond at that property as a location for a dry hydrant to serve that area. So it's possible that there might be some public safety funds available to
Right.
go there. And the state of Connecticut is anticipating that the Build Back Better program that just passed the House and Senate will give additional funds to Connecticut for trails and infrastructure and public safety improvements.
Yeah.
So That's definitely on the watch list for those who will be continuing on the board.
Good.
Anything else on item C, open space? Okay,
No.
Moving on to the budget report. Jim, I'm going to let you talk about this one.
So you've all got a copy of the current budget report in hand. And I would say, looking at this and talking with Jill just earlier today, expenses for current fiscal year seem to be really on track where we would expect them to be. And I would say that if anybody's got any specific questions, I'll do my best to try to answer them. In looking at it, does everybody agree that spending appears to be on track for this fiscal year?
We're ahead of last year, but I think that's to be expected.
Mhm. I don't see anything that's extremely out of line right now.
No, I think we're, based on what we have for the current spending trends and where we are in the fiscal year, I think we're in pretty good shape at the moment.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. You also have the tax collector's report. And we are ahead of last year's for collections, but not by much.
Considering we had a late start, that's still good.
Well, I will also share with you that we did, just as far as the budget's concerned, we did receive a permit application for the gas station redo at the corner of Bolton Center Road and Route 44.
Right.
And on the revenue side, when that fee comes in, it will be significant. It's about $42,000.
Wow.
So on the
Just-
revenue side, we'll be looking pretty good there.
Just for the fee, for the building fees?
Yeah.
Wow,
Correct.
things have gone up. Okay.
Well, it's a multi-million-dollar project. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole site is, planned to be raised, including the building, the underground tanks, the dispensers, all the pavement. I mean, they're basically going to take it from where it is to a raw piece of land and start all over again. So I think, not only will it, be a revitalization of that site, I think, both the revenue from, the short-term revenue from the permit fee is certainly something we hadn't anticipated, but will be wonderful. But then, the long-term investment in the community and, the tax revenue that comes from that will certainly be a positive aspect, as time goes on.
Okay. Any other questions on the revenue report? Okay, next item on our agenda is to consider and possibly approve the Heritage Farm lease bid. This is item 6A in your packet. We have two bids. One from Leonard Gilio for $3,110. And the other for Kyle Pajoli, from Kyle Pajoli, for $4,236 per year for a period of 2 years.
Is there any reason we shouldn't take the high bidder? Here,
Oh, yes.
Bob?
Well, I think there's some additional considerations, familiarity with the land, history of taking good care of it from a stewardship perspective. There's a lot of other things, and I'm sure me couldn't be better positioned to comment. In fact, I'm going to disqualify myself from voting on this.
Gwen?
May I address the board on this issue?
Or,
Thank you. First, I want to say that I know Tom and Kyle Pajoli. They're great people. They're good friends. I really respect the farming operation that they run. They have a beautiful farm there, and I appreciate that they're part of the agricultural history of Bolton. So my comments are not directed in any negative way against them. My comments are all directed in support of Lenny Gilio's request to continue his lease. And I also want to disclose that one of my sons worked for Leonard Gilio for years, and he still does work periodically for Lenny, including helping him conduct the haying operation on the Heritage Farm. So you could consider my comments biased, but I hope that you will consider them as coming from a point of informed information, because I'm pretty familiar with how that operation works there, and I had the pleasure of riding around the farm many times on the tractor with my son when he was cutting, which was a great thrill. So I support Lenny's request, and I read the statement that was in your packet. And having ridden around on a tractor a number of times on those fields, I became convinced that a farmer has a very intimate relationship with the land that he works. The farmers get to know where the rocks are, where the wet spots are, where how to predict how much hay can be cut on the fields, how to predict what size crew they need, how many days they have to wait for certain areas of the fields to dry out. And so that knowledge Lenny has had that knowledge for years, and his father before him. And they know that farm well. They've taken good care of it. They've complied with the terms of the existing lease. They've been good stewards, and they have also, as Lenny said in his statement, they've put in some investments. They bought seed, they've done fertilizing there, and those investments now, if that lease were terminated, they're out that money, and those investments are going to be handed over to another farmer who might take over those fields. So. I just feel that the difference in the two bids is only about $1,100, and I don't think that $1,100 coming into the town is important enough to take the lease away from a farmer who's been farming there for many years and who knows the property very well and who has not broken any of the terms of the current lease. I just think that his intimate knowledge, his good stewardship of those fields outweighs the $1,100 benefit that the town would get from accepting the Pajoli proposal. So I would ask you to vote in favor of continuing Lenny Gilio's lease of the farm fields.
and thank you, Gwen, for those comments. To the best of my knowledge, Mr. Gilio no longer has any animals on his farm. Is that correct?
He no longer has a head of dairy cows.
So he is purchasing this hay for resale to others rather than using it in his own farming operation?
That is what I think happens. I don't have exact knowledge of that, though. I have to infer that if he doesn't have his dairy cows there, he's not using it to feed cows there. But I really don't know for sure.
Okay. Kyle or Thomas Pajoli, would you like to comment?
Hi, this is Kyle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All I want to say is, we're not looking to steal this from another farmer. What we're looking to do is just expand our farm operation. We feed about 50 to 60 beef cows a year. We raise them up from calves. Every piece of beef we sell, we raise. So we're just looking at grow more feed for our own animals to benefit, our own farm in town. It's not going to be baled up and resold like it's happening now. It's actually going to a hay broker that's buying it right at the farm. We're going to be taking it home and feeding it to our animals throughout the winter. And what we're looking to do is put up a roadside stand to be able to sell individual cuts of our beef. Right now we sell it in bulk quantities, but we'd like to sell it individually, to kind of better benefit our community, because not everyone can take on a half or a whole animal in their freezer. So that's kind of our long-term goals with this. And in order to do that, we need to just secure more feed for our animals to be able to, raise them and sustain that, type of farm. But so that's what we're looking to do.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Kyle?
And just a comment.
Yep, go ahead, Bob.
Both, I know both gentlemen, both have farmed well. And I think both gentlemen, both farms can be equally good stewards of that property. That's not the issue. We initially we indicated we were going to put this thing out for bid a couple of years ago. And we did it to allow any other farm or person in the community who wanted to bid on it, to utilize it, to do so. And that's what we did, and here we are. So I think, and there's a significant difference in the bid. I don't want to disparage either part of it, and I know both of them, and whatever decision I make, it's the other party won't be too thrilled with it. But right now, I quite frankly see that Mr. Pajoli's bid is a good bid. I'm sure he'll take care of that land. Just knowing what he's done with his property, he's dealt with it. It's a different type of hay harvest. It doesn't require the drying length that a regular baled hay system does. So you can cut the field, get it in a lot quicker. Whether that's a benefit or not, we will find out. But those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, I am ready to accept a motion to approve one of these bids.
I'll move we adopt the high bid.
The proposal.
We approve the high bid. I'm sorry.
Approve the high, accept the high bid.
Accept the high, Jack. Thank you. I know it yeah, time change and everything.
Yeah, I know. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mike,
Sure.
moved by Bob Morris, seconded by Mike Aramita. Is there any further discussion?
Just,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask a question. First of all, I feel a little uneducated in the farming requirements and how complicated is it to, learn to understand the land and what are the dangers if we don't. But my gut is hearing people say that they're, they've been vouched for, that they're both, good farmers and would be good stewards for the land. Is there any reason we shouldn't accept the higher bid that anyone can think of?
That was a question
Like
I
if-
asked way back when.
Yeah.
No.
Just quick
Go
comment.
ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Gwen brought up something that I wasn't even thinking about when I was considering the high bid, and that's the investment that has been put into that land already in seed and fertilizer and things like that. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about the Pajoli farm where they raise cattle and use the product here in town to feed their cattle, as opposed to the product going out of town for sale. And when you're selling a product like that, you're taking a risk when you fertilize and seed and everything, in the hopes that you'll have it next year and you'll be able to buy the, produce the product for sale. Where the Pajolis are looking to use the product right here in town, and we'll do the same thing, I'm sure, fertilize and seed, and have the potential for losing the bid in a couple of years. But that's the risk they'll take. So my fallback is that I support the high bid.
Okay, I
Okay.
think I'm ready to take a vote on this. The motion
Can I
on the
make one
floor.
comment?
Sure, Tom, go ahead.
So what we would be doing, like we do with our own farm, we do soil testing, and that's done through the state of Connecticut up at Yukon. And we're willing to submit the tests of the soil to the town and only apply what is required to grow hay. And what I'm getting at is there'll never be what's called phosphorus loading in the soil. Only put enough nutrients with what is required for the soil. So phosphorus loading is a huge problem that if it does get in waterways, it can cause damage, and that's not what we're looking for. And I would like to start with soil tests prior to me working there, so I know where we're at right now and address that accordingly. So it goes with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and all that works amongst your pH level of the soil. So we would only put amendments of what is required to the soil.
Thank you, Tom. I'm ready to take the vote. Bob DiPietro?
Abstain.
Bob DiPietro abstains. Bob Mora?
Aye.
Mike Aramita?
Aye.
Kim Miller?
I mean, I just, ugh. I just feel like I just don't have enough information to make an informed decision. And I don't, like, on the one hand, the folks who have it now, I get the point about the investment. On the other hand, the highest bid is the highest bid. And if we're haying, why wouldn't we get the most for the town that we could get, right? I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, Kim Miller abstains and the chair votes aye. That motion passes. Kyle and Tom, the Selectman's Office staff will be in touch with you. And I see no reason you can't have access to the property to do some soil testing at your convenience, prearranged with Selectman's Office staff.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll need to make arrangements with the Selectman's Office to actually execute the actual lease. So reach out to Jim
Okay,
Rupert or Kathy
yeah.
McCavanagh to make that happen.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we're gonna be taking, probably with a parcel of land like that, of that size, a minimum of 4 to 5, maybe 6 soil tests. And that's open to the town to view it and understand it and know what's going on under the grass. And
Okay.
what's required, what's needed for a healthy crop and a healthy, how do I say it? Healthy water, no runoff of phosphorus anywhere to anybody's property.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Approve the cemetery maintenance bid.
This is an extremely complicated list of bids here.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
Who is our maintainer currently? Is it
US
US?
Cemetery.
Yeah.
All right, my prime instinct in this is to say we avoid them like the plague
For me.
and go with somebody else regardless of their bid. And that's, you know, I would hope that town staff has examined these bids and can give us a little help as to what might be the best bid, because there's so many different prices in here for different things. It's hard to make an accurate comparison, but especially when I'm running it up and down on the computer here.
Agreed.
You know, but I definitely, if I need to make an accurate bid, I'm gonna have to put this on a spreadsheet and compare it because it's almost impossible here. But I would like to eliminate United States Cemetery Services from consideration right off the bat. Only because
And-
we've had nothing but problems.
Yeah. Jim said that references all have not been checked on any of these.
Then why
Oh.
don't we hold this over till the next meeting? Allow Jim and staff to make some sort of a spreadsheet comparison and check the references and bring it back at the next meeting.
That would be
Agreed.
my recommendation.
Um,
We'll need to have a special meeting.
Yeah, it'll have to be a special meeting. The current contract expires on November 30th,
Okay, so,
and your
I have
next
no
meet-
problem sitting for a few minutes of a special
Me
meeting
neither.
to make
No.
this decision.
no,
All right.
I think I agree. It's important that we go in the right direction with all the issues we've had in the past.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim. I'm
Nope.
sorry.
No, you can finish. I thought you were done, so sorry.
No, I just want to say, Jim, asking Jim is if he feels they can have this checked out like in a week or so.
Yes, I think if we have a few days, we can get this done. The only thing I would like to know is that, is the entire board in agreement with Mike that we should just eliminate US Cemetery from both the Sexton services and the maintenance. We have not been particularly pleased with either of those services. And, you know, they are a source of continual complaints.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was, given the history that we've had, and there's been so many complaints in town, I think it would behoove us to almost, you know, look, if there's minimal differences in the ultimate price, pick whoever's got the best reviews, because we've gotten slammed with this and nothing that we've been able to do has been able to fix it.
Yep.
So I would say err on the side of, you know, if we have to spend a little bit more, but we can get it done right, that would sort of reset it and I think put us in a better place.
I
Hear, hear.
agree
I
completely.
agree.
Agreed.
Well, it's not 6 feet under.
No, no. No, the bids are relatively close. There's no, as I sort of looked at them, figured it out, but they're relatively close so that whoever we pick, the differential is rather minimal.
Yeah, references are going to be the big thing on this.
Exactly.
And I just want to point out that many of the Sexton services that the bidders have listed are actually paid by the family of the deceased.
Yeah.
So you will want to look at those for reasonableness and comparative, but likely the town will not be paying those costs.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
all right,
So we'll
moving.
Table that to a special.
Yep. So that one, whew, is off my plate.
Yeah, it's complicated.
That was a big exhale.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, cannabis. They're talking about exhale.
Yeah. And we're gonna pass on that one tonight too, because staff has not had the time to deal with the issues.
Correct.
Budget transfers.
Budget transfer.
Budget transfers, thank you. I
There are
lost my
two in the
agenda
contract.
again.
It's almost at the back of the package.
Yep. There are two budget transfer requests, both from the fire department, fire commission. The first is transfer $550 from equipment to office operations for information and medical printed forms. And the second is also from the fire commission to transfer $1,300 from equipment to travel for transportation for training in New York for 4 members, including transportation and lodging. And they can be approved in one motion.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Mike.
Bob. No,
No, I was gonna say, but the training, could you just comment on the training?
yeah, they went to it's called a rescue jack. It's a system of stabilization of vehicles and equipment that might be in precarious positions. They went to upstate New York, and I believe they were there with people from about 30 states and instructors from probably 10 states. And it's been done, I think last year or the year before. We sent a couple people up there. It's a very, very, very good course to teach people how to use the equipment we have. And it's not something we have to buy. We already own this equipment, and it's all stabilization. And they're taught everything from how to stabilize a vehicle or to how to lift the vehicle directly up in the air to get underneath it. And it's a very, very good course. And the 4 people that went are very active members of the fire department. So we will get our money's worth out of these 4 people for sure.
So they've completed the course, basically.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they completed
This
the
is the
course.
reimbursement.
They're very active. It's,
Thank you.
They'll be the people that are on scene when you need them.
Okay.
I move to approve the transfer.
Okay, so is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it. Oh, Kim did. Oh,
Either way.
you got it. You know.
Bob DiPietro, seconded by Kim Miller, to approve this. I need to do a roll call. Bob DiPietro,
I,
Bob Mora,
Aye.
Mike Aramita,
Aye.
Kim Miller.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so that's unanimous. Those were our only 2 budget transfers, is that correct? Item 7A, proposed 2022 meeting dates. When the reason we're doing this now as opposed to at the December meeting is that any meeting not held more than 30 days after filing with the town clerk has to be a special meeting, not a regular meeting. So if at your December meeting, you choose to change the January meeting, that could be, the January meeting could be a special meeting, and all of your remaining meetings could be regular meetings. But if we fail to file this report by December 4th, all of your meetings next year will have to be special meetings, and you don't want that to happen.
No, we can always change them. I'll move the adoption of the proposal.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I need to do a roll call again. Bob DiPietro,
I,
Bob Mora,
Aye.
Mike Aramita,
Aye.
Kim Miller,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well, so that's unanimous. Jim, you need to make sure that's on their December agenda to review the January meeting date. 3/4 of an hour ago, I thought weren't going to be out of here till 10 o'clock.
Nah,
Um,
we wouldn't do that to you.
Thanks. COVID-19, our case count is pretty much frozen. We've been at 348 cases for more than a week now. So I expect we will retain our gray status, although the governor announced today that the positivity rate is again climbing. So don't let your guard down. And I just want to thank this group for being beside me for the past 4 years. I think we've had a great run. We've accomplished a lot. There's a lot on the table that I'm leaving in capable hands, and I wish you all well. So thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
So you all have a copy of my monthly highlights. We'll go through them quick and I'll entertain any questions that you might have. I met again with the UConn engineering students regarding planning for the water line extension. One of the things that they're currently working on is looking at, what we would require for flow. So they're doing the hydrodynamic portion of that engineering currently. Kathy and I had a quick meeting with Kerma regarding our current insurance coverage and some suggestions they might make for us in the upcoming fiscal year for insurance coverage. The FEMA grant for Storm Isaias, it's not really a grant, it's a reimbursement of town expenses. That other than having a closeout interview, that is now done. And we've received the funding. I think I reported to you at the last meeting, it's something in the neighborhood just north of $70,000, which is tremendous. And again, I want to just kudos to the staff that really put a lot of effort in to help, get those funds for us. I've had a budget meeting with the supervisors, getting things kicked off with the budget. I've told them, that we are, currently expecting, reasonable budgets that, support their current programming. Again, if they have new programming that they want to propose, they need to, really put that together in a way that, is understandable for the Board of Selectmen. I've encouraged each of them to use zero-based budgeting so that they're building their budgets from scratch and really just putting in the budgets what are necessary for operations in the upcoming fiscal year. And I've also encouraged them all to make time to meet with the Board of Selectmen to discuss their budgets and be able to make arguments for those things that they're passionate about in their budgets. So that, we're not making cuts to their budgets that we don't understand. I think it's important that they really come out and advocate for their budgets. As all of you know, we had the town meeting last month, and I have been working on annual reviews as is required by the town charter for the supervisors. I have, the meetings are largely done. The paperwork is not yet done, but we're closing in on that, and we should finish that here very shortly. We've started the work for the annual report. The staff member that's been assigned to that this year is Gary. We think he's quite capable of putting all of that document together and tracking it. He's giving me weekly updates on where that's going. We had a claim several days after the road was reclaimed on Holland Road for somebody that, thought that the loss of their bumper was due to the road being reclaimed, and they hit according to them, they were able to hit a structure that stuck up from the road about 1.5 inches. We asked for a police report. We asked if they had reported to the town in a timely fashion. The answer was no, so we wrote a very nice letter saying that we didn't think that this was, the town would be responsible for that matter. So that, we believe we put that to bed. You just received the bids for the Heritage Farm lease and the cemetery lawn services and sexton services. And one of the things that we've been really looking at here is expanding the use of EDMS, which is an electronic data management system. You know, we were a pilot town back when Joyce was here through the Capital Region Council of Governments. We do manage our HR records through the EDMS system. But one of the things that we started on several years ago, and, you know, somehow or another, we got off track on it, was to try to put our legacy land use records into the EDMS system. You know, we would use, you know, college interns and that sort of thing to scan these in. And especially with, you know, electronic government today, it would allow people to research our documents without necessarily being at town hall. It just really improved that transparency. And frankly, you know, some of these things take a lot of staff time when we get requests for records and have to find information. So if we can move toward, you know, getting our data digitized, I think it makes it better for the public who uses those records, and certainly frees staff up to do, you know, other things that are, you know, certainly need to be taken care of. The other thing that we're working on, you know, my pen hand has gotten very sore from signing purchase orders and requisitions and things of that nature. You know, we pay for a computer program. Tyler is what we use for our financial software. And we have a module available to us at no additional cost. We're already paying for it, where we can do much of this online. The advantage of that is also that, you know, supervisors can see where their documents are in the approval process. And so we are working with Tyler. You know, we still have 44 hours of training time that we've purchased from them. And so we are working, Jill and her staff are working right now, and eventually we'll have some training for supervisors. And we'll be bringing that incentive to bear, because I just think it will be just way easier. And I think, again, more clear and transparent to everybody. We also, during our last month, interviewed several candidates to fill the vacancy in the tax office for the assistant to the assessor and tax collector. And we're happy to tell you that we have a wonderful young lady named Ashley Johnson that has joined our team. Not only does she come to us with some experience, you know, her customer service skills seem to be very good, and, you know, she seems to be a really good fit with town staff. The other thing I'll mention to you, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it through the owl, is we did get a environmental action award from UConn last year. Last year, one of the things we did with UConn in partnership was look at stormwater infrastructure for managing stormwater on town-owned properties. While we're doing, you know, pretty well with most of that, you know, some recommendations did come out of that. And as we move forward with some of these projects, we'll probably try to incorporate at least some of those recommendations. So that was another great thing that happened just in the last couple of days. Does anybody have any questions about either anything on my report or something that you think maybe I should have talked about and didn't? Great. You know, and the other thing I would just say, you know, under other, you know, haven't had the opportunity to work with Sandy all that long, but I can tell you that she's worked incredibly hard at everything she's done here for the town. And as much as I'm looking forward to working with the new board, you know, not working with Sandy is going to be an adjustment for me. So
Thanks.
you all.
All right, time for the famous motion.
Move we adjourn.
And Kim seconds. All those in
There you go.
favor?
No.
All right. The two happiest people are there. Good night, all.